Welcome my dear Artma army, welcome to another video. In this video we are going to be making this character from start to finish, no edits. You can watch the whole process, set up your devices, set up your drawing tablet and your pencil or the device that you are using. If you are somebody who does not have an iPad, do not worry, use a mobile device, use a simple pencil and draw it on Ibis Paint application. You can check the video in the description and I will put a complete tutorial on how to draw on Ibis Paint as well. Alright, do not let the lack of devices or tools be the limitation for you to express your creativity. If you are somebody who enjoys creating art, you and I are going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to be bringing a lot more content for you. If you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in another one and you go ahead and have fun in this video. Bye bye. Take care. Hello guys, I hope you guys are excited for this. Let's jump right in and start the process of creating this illustration. Let me go ahead and show you the layer structure. I have this blank layer right here, right above the background layer, on which I'm going to start sketching. Okay, I'm going to take the sketching tool, which is the pencil right here. I'm going to use this pencil to start laying down the basic structure of what I'm going to create. All right, so starting with the head of the cute little girl that we have. Let me pick the color which is kind of gray, okay, and go ahead and start making a sketch, very rough sketch. If you notice that the lines that I'm making are very light, I'm not putting too much pressure. I'm trying to keep it as light as I can so that I can make changes along the way and also not be very fixated on the shape that I have created. I can always keep making changes. Outside of this, I'm going to go ahead and start adding a shape for the hair on top of it. I did not start by doing the hair separately, I mean only the hair at the edges. I started with making the shape of the head first and then making the shape for the entire hair that we are seeing, okay? This right here is a shape for the hair, something like this, and then there is the body of the character. Okay, she's kind of sitting. I have a reference that I'm working with, so I'm going to be making changes as I go along. Now this right here is the body of the character. This right here is the thigh. The posture is like something which we call as, I think, Padmasana. The way in which she's sitting, she has both her hands in front of her, okay, something like this, and the thighs or the feet are kind of going this way. This is the side of one thigh, this is the other thigh, this is the knees, and there is hands in the middle. So she's keeping her hands in the middle, something like that. This right here is the arm, this is the other arm, and what you're seeing on the top is the shape for the head and the hair. Okay, let me go ahead and add some more detail about how the hair craft is going to be. I'm trying to keep this simple flowy lines. You can see that the lines are all moving very quick, very swift. I am not being very particular on being very careful with the line I'm making. I'm not making it like this. I'm rather making it in a very fluid motion. I keep talking about this in all of the other process videos that I have put up on the channel. You can check the other videos on this channel where I talk to you about how to create different characters, all using simple techniques like like what I'm talking about right now. I'm going to add like the ribbons for her hair somewhere around there. I'm going to add the hair that is below this part where the ribbon is, right? All right, okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add those ribbons like I spoke about. This is going to be the shape for the ribbon on this side. The same is going to be the shape on this side. Everything is quite rough. Everything is kind of very messy right now, but that's completely fine. We don't need to worry about how clean it's looking. What we need to instead think about is how we are placing the different things that need to be part of this piece, right? So I'm going to go ahead and make the shape for the eyes. You can see that they are quite big, very big wide eyes that I have made. I am going to go ahead and add the lashes on top. Please do not hesitate from pausing, rewinding, watching the process again. It's completely fine. You can take your own speed, make your own pace for creating this. You can pause this video, rewind it, go back and watch again. I am erasing the parts which I don't think I need anymore, which is the shape of the head inside of the hair that I have. Yes. Okay. So here I'm going to go ahead and continue creating the shape of the hair. Okay. The eyes, I'm going to make them big wide eyes, right? That's something that I want for this piece. Big wide eyes. The shape for the eye is going to be something like that. On the other side as well, the eyes have kind of come to a certain level of detail right now. Okay, on top of that, I am adding like a very rough eyelash sort of a thing, and there inside of the eye I'm going to add like a darker section. Okay, I'm going to add a darker section. You're able to see what's going on right on your screen. I'm going to explain what I'm doing while I start coloring, so you'll be able to understand it better. Even on the underside, I'm going to go ahead and make the shape something like that. I think that we are getting somewhere with this design. I can also kind of add like a cute little character on top of her head. Let us make this, say, a duck sort of a thing. Yeah, a cute little duck that's sitting on top of her head. Very cute looking, round shaped duck. You can see these kind of things can make the piece look kind of attractive, kind of cute, so to say. There's a duck sitting on top of her head. She's looking at this camera, and her mouth is something like that. Very, very small, big eyes, small mouth. And I'm going to refine the shape for the chin right now. So this right here is the rough shape that we have made. I'm going to find that spot that I think this the chin of the character should be. Try and refine some more parts of the shape of the hair now. So big, medium, small, I keep talking about it. The big shapes are done. The medium shapes are almost there. Now the small shapes is what I'm going to focus on. The duck is already in place. The hair shape is already there. I think now we are in a good place to go ahead and start adding the sketch. In case anything is missing, I will come back and add to it. Let me go ahead and start creating the refined line art on top of this layer on a separate layer. Let me go ahead and do that. Here, I'm going to move this slightly below. Okay, so I have it in center. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. On this layer, I'm going to start making the line art. Before that, I'm reducing the opacity of the sketch that I have, which will make it slightly less opaque. And now I can use any color, dark color, to kind of do the line work on this piece. Okay, I'm going to go use inking, reduce the size of the brush, start from one side. Any part is fine. I will go ahead and start inking this. In case there is anything that comes to my mind, I will speak to you. Otherwise, you can follow along with me doing this entire sketching process. Okay, you can see it's happening on a separate layer. Also, I'm keeping the sketch kind of a little thinner compared to the other artworks that we have done, the details of which you will find in the description. I will add the other process videos that we have done. You can see them as well. The shape for eyes is also done. Let me go ahead and start detailing the hair a little bit more. You see that when we have like a base of rough sketch underneath it, it becomes a lot easier for us to know what we are doing, and we can be a little swift in the way we work, so that in case there is a need for changes, we can always step back and correct things. And knowing that that cushion exists, that we are doing it on a separate layer without having to worry about whether we are making any changes that cannot be undone, etc. It's quite easy to move fast on this. Yeah, I'm going to erase some parts. I'm just trying to add a little bit more detail to the hair here, just by adding some more extra strands which are kind of coming out of the bunch of hair that we have created. Even on this side, I'm going to go ahead and some more of this on different parts. Now what am I doing here? I'm just trying to show that the hair is not exactly in the place that it should be. You know that the hair can get messy, so I'm doing that as well right here. Coming to the kind of clothing, what she is wearing is going to be like a loose kind of a top. I'm using a reference here. This is not an absolutely original design. I'm making changes as I go along. You can see what I'm doing, how I'm trying to get the shape of the jacket or the top that she's wearing to come through. There are folds that I have made on this fabric. Yeah, on the other side as well I will do the same thing. There is the line for the hand, which is creasing somewhere in the middle sometimes, and then the hands go between the legs, something like that. Yeah, and then there is a polo neck. Is that polo neck or turtleneck? It's a turtleneck, yes. Yeah, on the other side as well. Coming to the legs, now the top that she is wearing is kind of overflowing until this point, and it kind of sits on top of her legs, something like that. Also on the other side, it sits something like that. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and create the shape for the legs. The shape for the eyeball is only until here, the black part of the eye, so, or the colored part of the eye. I'm going to make that change. Let me do the same thing on the other side as well. Shape for the eyes inside, the dark part of the eye. I'm going to select the area and go ahead and fill in the black color in that region. Okay, there we have it. So now I think you're able to see that the shape of the eyes and everything is almost close to done. I'm going to make the eyelashes kind of thicker so that it kind of looks cute. I'm going to add a slight extension on the eyelashes, something like that. I'm just adding eyelashes on top of the dark part which we already have. On the other side as well, let me go ahead and do that. On the bottom side as well, just a slight extension like this can make it look quite interesting. Add some thickness, extend it slightly outwards, there. Yeah, and the mouth of the character is just one small shape, something like that. Let me go ahead and finish the hair on the other side as well. Now we have the sketch almost complete. I'm going to look for any open loops that we have which I need to complete or close. I'm doing that right now. You can see that coming together, the entire sketch of the character is coming together. On top of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more details in terms of what can make it look slightly more nuanced, with some finer details here and there. I'm going to add some lines for the hair that might make it look like the hair is flowy. On the other side as well, let me go ahead and do that. On this side as well, let me go ahead and try that. Okay, at the back a little bit of that, and on this side as well. So that gives it a look of the hair kind of having this strands, which make it not so plain and even, but rather add some detail to it. What are the other thing that I can do? I'm erasing some parts of this bangs that are coming in the front, and see what I do. I'm just simply going to go and add a shape, something like this, which is going to make the hair look a little bit more interesting. So these are small, right? Big, medium, small. I keep talking about it, big, medium, small. That's what I'm trying to do here. Now is the time when we go ahead and start coloring this. I'm going to create a new layer on top of everything, on below the sketch layer, on top of the sketch that rough sketch that I had. Okay, let's pick the color for the hair, try and fill it on this separate layer. The reference layer is at the top. This right here is the hair on the inside. This again, the part of the hair. Everything that needs to be colored in the color of the hair is almost done right now. All right, now the other things that we need to color are going to be, body, the clothing that she's wearing. Say for instance, this right here. Let me go ahead and pick the color, something like this. Yeah, on this side as well. I think there is an open loop somewhere there. I'm going to close that loop, go back again, use a black color, close this loop, use the color for this and fill it. I'm going to do that slightly later. Go back and fill the color once again. Yes, and even this area needs the same color. Fill the color inside the parts where I am looking to color the entire top. Coming to the sketch again, there is a part which was not complete. I'm going to close that loop, start coloring the area that I think will be the legs. This. Now we almost getting there, or maybe use a slightly more yellowish color. So this is something that might make it look all in one tone, right? In the red yellow shade. I'm going to go ahead and use this color. I'm going to make it slightly more reddish so that it has a similar tone happening across. Okay, now coming to the skin, I'm going to go and use a skin color, something like this. Not absolutely bright fair skin color. I'm using slightly wheatish kind of a tone for the body. Okay, and now use the yellow on the outside and red on the inside. See, changes like these can be made very easily, very quickly. You wouldn't have to worry too much about the choices that you are making. You can always go back and correct them. Here is the color for the mouth, duck on top of her head. The eyes, now I would like to use a color which is kind of complementary. It's kind of in a different zone altogether. So I will use a green shade, something like this. Next step from here happens to be adding the lighting and shadow. It's going to be interesting. I will also fill in white inside of the eyes so that I'll be able to work on a single layer. So go ahead and fill in white inside those parts where they're supposed to be the eyes. Yeah. So now we are going to be creating the shadows on this particular character that we already have. The flats are already done. On a new layer, you see that this is a new layer. I'm going to set this to multiply, and with a color which is slightly in the red pink zone, I'm going to go start painting the shadows. Okay, I'm going to set this layer itself to reference so that whatever I'm doing stays inside of this layer only when I paint. All right, so let me start doing the shading or the shadow part of this artwork, starting with the one side, that is this, and I will try and close the entire area which I want to shade. Yeah, let me go ahead, pull the color, fill it up. So you can see that this side looks like it's in shade now, right? Similarly, I'm going to do that to the other side as well. Wherever I think I need shadows, I'm going to go fill that area or make a selection in such a manner that it appears like a shadow that is being cast by the hair onto itself. Let me go ahead and do that on this region as well. So there is going to be some part here which is going to become the region that will have shadow on it. I'm doing it relatively quickly. You can take your time and do this properly. In case I'm messing up, I can always go ahead and erase it on the layer that I'm working on. It does not necessarily spoil the layer underneath it, and it kind of allows you to create those shadows inside of that section where we have only the shadow. Do not need to worry about messing up the base underneath. Yeah, this right here becomes the shadow for this part of the hair, and this also probably will cast a shadow, something like this. I can go ahead and refine it. I can erase whatever I do not need. If something is extra, I can remove that. Some other places I might want to add more shadow. Let me go ahead and try and do that. Say for instance, this character, this duck that is sitting on top of her head, that also will cast a shadow. And at the same time, these edges will also have some shadow. So I'm going to reduce the size of the brush and go ahead and try to give some amount of shadow to the corners of these bangs that are there on top of her hair. Alright, same I will do for the hair which is here as well. The shadow needs to be cast in this region because there is a ribbon which will cast a shadow. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and add the shadow on this part of the hair as well. See, just follow the steps that I am showing you. Just do one step at a time and you will also get similar results. Do not get confused. Do not skip stages. Whatever I am doing, if you do one step at a time, you will also be able to create the exact same kind of piece. And once you understand how I'm doing it, after that you can go ahead and apply it in any other context that you want to apply it in. Now you're able to see that the shadow is kind of making it look a little bit like it has some depth. Same thing we are going to go do for the clothing as well, and we are also going to add some highlights. So let's keep moving. I'm going to pick the color for the duck and make it slightly more orange, and on this same layer. Okay, everything is being done on this layer. I can also clip this layer, by the way. I can clip this layer to the layer below so that whatever I'm painting is going to stay inside of this only. I'm going to go and add this shadow on the duck so that it can get that little bit more depth in its design. Yeah, under the mouth as well. Okay, now we are going to do the same thing for the clothing. If I go pick the color and make it slightly darker, slightly in that reddish zone maybe, yeah, and then start adding the shadows. Now I'm going to add the shadows something like this, considering the direction of light, and filling in the color in the areas that we think the shadow should be. So now I have set the reference on this layer only, So hopefully the color should only get filled in that region. If the color does not seem fit, then you can always go ahead and change it. Oh, I think the area kind of got merged, and because of which we are getting a very weird kind of a look. So I'm going to go ahead and do the color once again. The color that I picked, I changed it. You can also go ahead and try and change the color in case you think the shadow is not looking appropriate. I wanted it to have a little bit more of a, pinkish shade, as the clothing that she's wearing is also having a pink kind of a color to it. This right here, and I've left like a little bit of that red. It's kind of looking nice, so I just left it there. So you can also try doing that. On top of everything, we are also going to go ahead and make changes to this after we have finished it also. So you can keep tweaking the shadow as you make it, and once you are satisfied with it, you can go ahead and even make changes to the layer on which you are working. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to tweak the shadow so that it looks appropriate. I start with like a darkish shadow, and then I can go ahead and add and remove or kind of make it darker, lighter, all of those things. It's possible for me to do that. Yeah. Now, same thing with the trouser pajama. Let me go ahead and select a color which is slightly orangish, maybe slightly dark. Yeah. And on this, I'm going to go and add that shape, which is going to make it look like it has a shadow going on. Same thing on the other side also. Now, all of these things together are kind of giving it a 3D look. Even the skin, that also will have a shadow. So let me go ahead and pick the color. I will finish all of them and I will show you what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to add a shadow somewhere around here. Yeah, every shadow right now that I'm making is looking very strong. It's looking very dark. So I'm going to tweak it. Do not worry, none of this is going to be final. We can always make changes. So that's the beauty of working in the digital medium, right? I'm going to add another shadow on this side as well. Yeah, here too, here. Wherever the hair is casting a shadow, we need to add that. And right underneath these areas, I'm going to reduce the size of the brush a little bit. I can clean this up later, so that's not a problem. I'm just going ahead and adding the shadow. After that, I will clean it up in case something doesn't look right. If you have not done digital painting before, then if you look at it, you probably want to do it. You are probably feeling the need to try this out. Whatever I'm showing you, it might appear interesting. So I would recommend you start at least with a mobile device and Ibis Paint. There is the tutorial on Ibis Paint inside of our Artma Creative, inside of this particular channel. You can see the link will be in the description. You can use your mobile device and start drawing. It's a very straightforward process that I have completely broken down and explained in full detail. Okay. Outside of this, I'm also going to add some shadow to the eyes that we have. Okay. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm using a bluish color here. You can always pause, go back and see what I'm doing. In case you are having difficulty following along, you can pause it, reduce the speed even. If you are facing difficulty following exact steps that I am taking, you can take one step back and see what I did. Okay, now we have the design almost there. I'm going to use the same orange again and add the shadows for the bows that she's wearing. So let me go ahead and do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the opacity on this layer, and you will see that instantly makes it look so much more appealing. Now if I increase the opacity again, you can see that it become completely dark. I'm reducing the opacity and you can see now it looks a lot more pleasing. Same thing I'm going to do with the highlights as well. Let me go ahead and create a new layer, clip it to the base layer and set this to reference again, so that whatever I'm doing, I'm wanting to keep it on this layer only. Let me go ahead and start adding the highlights, going ahead picking the color for the hair, making it slightly brighter, more yellow, and let's go ahead and start doing that. One thing I missed, I think, is change the blend mode. You can go ahead and change and set it to screen, which will make it slightly brighter. If you set it to color dodge, it can look very punchy. You can see that it makes it look very punchy. You can go ahead and set it to screen. Okay, I think there is an overlap that is happening on this particular line, so I'm going to remove that, set this layer to screen, and then continue creating what I was doing. See, highlights are something that can make your piece look really good if you use it sparsely. Don't overdo it. If you add too many highlights, then it can, kind of break the overall look of the piece that you're working on. But if you use it sparsely in the right amounts, it can make it look very nice. Okay. I think this probably is not needed because it's in the opposite direction. I'm just going to remove that. And I can also add some of the highlights on edges where I think the light will hit. This is a stylistic choice. Now, sometimes you might feel that adding a highlight might make something look nice on a certain area. You can go ahead and do that, keeping in mind the direction in which the light is coming from. Okay, outside of this, there is going to be slight highlights on the hair, which is also a stylistic choice. You can do it in different ways, but I'm going to show you a certain technique that can make it look very nice. Okay, you've got to first make a shape something like this. Okay, this is very interesting. I mean, it kind of looks very cool after it's done. I'm going to make a shape something like that, and on this side also I'm going to go ahead and do something like that. I'm making these shapes. You will get to know what I'm doing in just a little bit. Very neat shapes like that. Do you see that it's kind of added a little bit of a shine to the hair? I'm going to do some more of that in some areas, something like this. Haha, isn't it looking cute? I think it looks kind of nice. I really enjoy this part of the process where I get to do these kind of interesting things, which is actually not the base of the artwork, but rather the detailing part. But it's kind of interesting, kind of a lot of fun to do this. So I personally enjoy doing this a lot. If you are somebody who likes creating, blingy, shiny kind of artworks, you will definitely enjoy this part of the process. If you see now, the hair is kind of starting to look a little bit more shiny. It looks like it has a little bit more character to it. Also, the other thing is you can always go ahead and change the shape, refine it a little bit, make it a little sharper. The sharper you make it, the more shiny it's going to appear. More shiny in the sense the hair is going to appear more fine if you make it thinner. Okay. What else can we do? I can always go ahead and add a little bit more of a shine here and there, just to make it interesting here as well. Okay, what else? We can now add similar highlights on other areas as well. So if I pick the color from here, go ahead and pick a brighter shade, something like that, and then start painting on the edge of the character that we have here, which happens to be our ducky. We can call it ducky, I guess. Yeah, even on the beak. Now, similar highlights I can add to the dress, but I think the color needs to change. So let's go ahead and change the color to red, something like this. So that's another highlight that I can add to this character. The clothing that she is wearing. I'll definitely try to give credit to the artist whose artwork I'm referencing here. If I'm unable to find it, I do not want to hurt anyone's sentiments. This is only an educational video. I'm just trying to help people learn. So I'm using this artwork as a reference. I don't claim any copyrights on this. I'm just making it clear. Yeah. Now I'm going to also do the same thing on this side of the character, which happens to be the trouser, and there is going to be a highlight on that as well, on right there. And also on this side I can do that too. Let's go ahead and do that. I think now it's kind of coming together, and you can see that it looks kind of blingy and nice. Yes. Also, on the parts where the shadow is, I would like to add a little bit of an accent on the edge to add some amount of shine, or say definition to the edge here as well. I think that's going to make it look very nice as well. Yeah. I can keep cleaning it up. I can use my eraser, clean up whatever is not looking fine. You can take your time to clean things up. That can also kind of add to the finish that you have in your piece. I'm going to do that now. And you can now see probably the piece is kind of starting to come together, and it's almost looking like it's complete. A few other things, the highlights on this part. The highlight on the inside of the bow, the thing that we are seeing on the bow here, I'm going to add some highlight there. I'm genuinely enjoying this a lot. I'm going to try out this technique on other things that I do outside of this tutorial as well. I'm kind of enjoying working on this. Yeah, now there is a few other things. For the eyes specifically, I'm going to go and pick a color which is, say, green and slightly more warm. Go ahead, increase the size of the brush and add like a highlight there, and somewhere around here as well. You can see now the eyes kind of start to look a little bit more lively. Yeah. Of all things, beyond this, there is one thing that you can do on top of the sketch, even the line art. Create another layer on top, go to absolute white color, and here you can go ahead and start adding finest of details that you would want to add to make this piece kind of start to pop. I'm going to do that in the eyes now. You can see that just by adding these highlights, the eyes start to kind of twinkle in the eye. Simple steps. Yes, I can also always use a different color to try and add a little bit more nuance to this. I think one thing that we missed out on, which I did not do earlier, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. On the shadow layer, I need to use a slightly more darker value, which is in the yellow-gray range, and add some shadow to the eyes here. Okay, the eyes are going to have some shadow too, which I missed out earlier. So because it is all happening on different layers, you don't need to worry about it. You can go ahead and do that anytime you please. Yeah, I hope that's looking good. And now a few other touches. Now this is absolutely optional. If you want to do it, you can do it. If not, you can let it be. It is about adding some amount of glow. I'm going to try out doing that by using a separate layer right now and setting it to, say, something like color. Okay, and going ahead using a red shade and using a airbrush, yeah, soft one, and kind of changing the brush size to this and adding a little bit of a blush to her skin to see if it kind of makes it look nice. Yeah, if you see now, the character's cheeks have a little bit of a blush. I can also add a little bit of a blush in the nose area. If I remove this, you probably will notice that, I do not know if it's appearing clearly or no. Let me zoom in and zoom out. This is a very small, subtle change that I have made, which makes it look a little bit more nicer. Yeah, and on top of everything, I'm going to create another layer this time and set it to color dodge. Use a color which is fairly dark and it is in this range, something like that, and try and do something similar on top of the hair. If you see now, there is going to be a little bit of a shine that you will see wherever I have added those shine areas, right? I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And looking nice. Same with the eyes as well. So where the eye color is present, I'm just going to go ahead, pick the color which is slightly more green, go ahead and add a little bit of a glow on top of the eyes to make the eyes look like they are glowing. I don't know if you're able to see the extent of how much that's making a change to this piece, but it does make a difference when you look at it up close. Okay, similar stuff I can do with this character as well. I'm just going to go ahead. Remember to use a darker color, not use a bright color. So it's a relatively dark color to go ahead and use this kind of a shiny effect if you are giving it to a piece. Okay. On the skin as well, let me go ahead and make it glow a little bit. I can try doing something to see whether that works well. No, that's too much. I just removed that. It's not looking good. One final thing that I can do is I can go to the background, move it to one side. I can go to the background, and on the background, I can go ahead and select a color, something probably in the green-blue range, which is going to complement whatever we have created, and I'll leave it at that. Kind of desaturated, yeah. And this area probably has a little bit more than what I need, the glow. I'm going to remove that. Just increase the size of the brush, go ahead and remove some of that. It's kind of, you know, getting too bright on the edges, so I'm going to go ahead and slightly erase those parts. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope this was fun for you. I hope you learned something in this process. Go ahead and try this out on different things that you do. I would love to see your work. Please go ahead and tag me on Instagram. Come talk to me on Twitter. I will see you in another video. Like I always say, stay strong and keep creating. I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Take care.